Okay, I want to kick things off today with a number that genuinely stopped me in my tracks this morning. I was scanning the latest housing data, coffee in hand, and this one number just jumped off the page. 10%.
10%. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a double-digit jump. In the world of massive data sets, that is not a rounding error.
Exactly. Specifically, we are talking about a 10% jump in Google searches for homes for sale.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the analysis we're digging into today, that is the highest level of search traffic we've seen in, what, 4 months?
4 months, yeah.
Now, I have to be honest with you. Usually when I see search traffic stats, I kind of roll my eyes. I'm a bottom line person. I
Yeah.
care about closed deals.
So sure.
I care about keys changing hands, moving trucks in driveways. But you're telling me I'm looking at this the wrong way.
I am. Look, I get it. We all want the hard numbers. But in the world of economic analysis, closed deals are their history, they're a rear-view mirror. A deal that closes today reflects a decision that was made 30, maybe 60 days ago.
Hmm?
Tells you how the world felt 2 months ago.
Right. It's a snapshot of the past.
Exactly. But search traffic, that is a leading indicator. It is the pulse of curiosity. It's the very first spark of intent.
It's the whisper before the shout.
That is a perfect way to put it. When buyer curiosity starts rising like this, reaching a 4-month high, it is often the critical market signal that demand is quietly rebuilding in the background. The intent is forming before the transaction happens. People are waking up.
So if we accept that this data is showing demand coming back online, people are dusting off their Zillow apps, they're typing into Google, maybe dragging their partner to an open house just to look. The big question, and really the mission of this deep dive, is what are they actually looking for? Because if I'm interpreting our sources correctly, they aren't just looking for anything.
No, not at all. They aren't just desperate to buy a roof. And this is where the story gets really interesting.
They're hunting for a very specific type of asset.
They are looking for safety. They're looking for certainty. We're basing this discussion on a really insightful piece titled The Blueprint for Everlasting Residential Demand.
Right.
And the core thesis here is fascinating. It argues that when buyers re-enter a market, especially after a quiet, uncertain period like we've just had, they don't buy randomly.
Yeah.
They gravitate toward a specific type of home that acts as a fortress against market cycles.
The well-built home in a high-demand location. It sounds so simple, right? Almost like a real estate cliche. Location, location, location.
It does.
But as we unpack this source material, I realized there is a lot more nuance here. It's not just about a zip code. It's about what the house does for the owner, physically and psychologically.
Oh, there's a tremendous amount of nuance.
Yeah.
And honestly, understanding this blueprint is essential whether you are buying, selling, or just, sitting in your living room trying to figure out if your own home is actually a smart investment.
Or a liability waiting to happen.
Exactly.
Okay, let's start with the head game. Let's unpack the psychology first. Because the source material points out that the buyer mindset today is fundamentally different from maybe what we saw in the frenzy a few years ago.
It is so much more calculated.
The text mentions that buyers are becoming more thoughtful, less impulsive. It feels like the era of, I'll take it, no inspection, here's my money.
I'll figure it out later.
Exactly. That's fading.
Thank goodness for that. I mean, that was a chaotic time. And frankly, it led to a lot of buyer's remorse.
Right. But something more prudent is taking its place.
I think that's a fair assessment. And it brings us to what I think is the most profound insight in this entire document. It suggests that the primary question driving a purchase decision has shifted.
Okay.
Think about how people used to buy. It was purely emotional. Do I love this house? Does it spark joy?
Can I see myself drinking coffee in the snook on a rainy Sunday?
Exactly. It was about the self. It was about immediate gratification. But now, the Sally buyer, and the source argues this is the dominant buyer right now, is asking a second, perhaps more important question.
Which is?
Will someone else love it after me?
That is a huge shift. You're not just buying a home for yourself, you're buying a future sales product.
That is the definition of resale demand.
Oh.
The source explicitly states that the most savvy purchase is one that considers the next buyer immediately. It is about removing your ego from the purchase.
Or at least balancing that emotion with some cold, hard logic.
Yes.
But isn't that a bit clinical? I mean, it's your home. Shouldn't you just buy what makes you happy? If I want purple velvet wallpaper and a maze-like floor plan because I'm eccentric, shouldn't I just do that?
You can. Nobody's stopping you. But you have to understand the cost. And that's why this matters so much right now. Why is everyone suddenly thinking like a real estate investor?
Okay, why?
It comes down to risk mitigation. We are in a world where economic climates shift fast. Jobs change. Families grow or shrink.
We're more mobile than we used to be. The idea of living in one house for 40 years is becoming rarer and rarer.
Precisely. If you buy a home that is idiosyncratic, something that only you could love, you are locking yourself into an asset that might be incredibly hard to offload when life changes.
You're trapping your future self. You're buying an anchor.
And nobody wants an anchor when they need a lifeboat. By prioritizing homes that answer yes to the resale question, will someone else want this? Buyers are essentially buying future flexibility. They are protecting their ability to move, to cash out, to pivot.
That makes perfect sense. It's defensive buying. You're hedging your bets against life's unpredictability. So if that's the mindset, buy what others will want, we need to define what that actually looks like. Because I think people get this wrong. They think resale value means granite countertops and gray floors.
Oh, it's much deeper than finishes. Finishes are cosmetic. They change every 5 years. Trends fade. We need to look at the anatomy of this everlasting home.
The source material is interesting here because it specifies that these homes aren't necessarily the ones you see on the cover of architectural magazines. They're not flashy or overly customized.
No, in fact, overly customized is often the enemy of resale value.
So let's walk through the 4 traits listed in the blueprint. These are the non-negotiables. Trait number 1, the floor plan.
The preference here is for simple, efficient floor plans.
Now, simple can sound boring. Are we talking about just a box?
Think of it as universally understood rather than boring. The source notes that the goal is a layout that works for various lifestyles. Let me give you an example of the opposite, which helps clarify things.
Please.
Have you ever walked into a house, maybe it's been added onto a few times, and you have to walk through a bedroom to get to the laundry room?
Oh, the Frankenstein house. Yes. Or a house where the dining room is completely cut off from the kitchen down a long, dark hallway.
Exactly. Those are friction points. If you have a floor plan that is incredibly niche, say a house with 5 tiny bedrooms but no central living space, you are severely limiting your pool of buyers. You are confusing people.
You're cutting out 80% of the market before they even finish the tour.
Right. You're looking for flow. You want a layout where a young couple, a family with 2 kids, or a retired couple could all walk in and say, okay, I can make this work. It's about intuitive design.
Intuitive is a good word. You shouldn't need a map to navigate your own house.
Exactly. When a buyer walks in, you don't want them doing mental gymnastics to figure out how to live there. If they have to ask, wait, where would I put the couch? Or why is this wall here? I mean, you've already lost some value.
Right.
The everlasting home has a layout that feels inevitable. It just makes sense.
Which leads perfectly into trait number 2, which I think is becoming the defining trait of the 2020s, adaptability. The source talks about spaces that can adapt over time.
This is crucial in the post-2020 world. Our relationship with our homes changed fundamentally. Our homes have to wear so many hats now. They're schools, gyms, offices, bakeries, movie theaters.
2 times all at once, usually on a Tuesday morning.
The specific example the source gives is a room that works as a home office today, but can easily transition into a guest room tomorrow. But it goes deeper than just putting a desk in a bedroom.
Right, because I've seen listings that call a walk-in closet with an outlet a home office. That's not adaptability, that's a closet.
No, that's desperation. Adaptability means the structure allows for change. Does the room have enough power outlets? Is there natural light? Is there some acoustic separation? If a room is built so specifically that it can only be a media room, no windows, tiered flooring, dark walls, that is hard to adapt.
So if I want to turn that media room into a nursery, I have to do a major renovation. I have to raise the floor, add windows. It's a project.
Exactly. But a well-proportioned room with good light and neutral architecture, that's a chameleon. It evolves with the owner. That adaptability is a massive selling point because it signals to the buyer that they won't outgrow the house the minute their life changes.
It extends the lifespan of the tenure in the home. You don't have to sell just because you had a baby or your teenager moved out or you started working from home. The house flexes with you.
Correct. It buys you time.
Okay, trait number 3, outdoor space. Now, this is one where I feel like people get hung up on size. They think resale value means you need an acre of land, a swimming pool, and a tennis court.
And the source corrects that assumption immediately. It explicitly says usable outdoor space, even if it's modest.
Even if it's modest, I really like that distinction.
It doesn't have to be a sprawling estate. In fact, for many buyers, a sprawling estate can be a detriment.
Because of the maintenance.
Exactly. A massive overgrown yard looks like a weekend job, to a potential buyer. It looks like money spent on landscaping crews. It looks like guilt. But a modest, functional space, a small, well-maintained patio, a balcony large enough for a table and chairs, a small, flat patch of grass. The key word is usable.
It's just about that connection to the outdoors, just having a place to step out and breathe.
And again, going back to psychology, it's about perceived value. If a buyer sees a functional patio, they mentally classify it as an outdoor living room. It adds square footage to the experience of the home without adding massive upkeep.
It's an asset, not a burden.
That's a great distinction. It's about lifestyle per square foot, not just total square footage.
Okay, treat number 4, construction quality. The source calls for solid construction.
This seems obvious, right? Buy a solid house. But it's worth dwelling on because the text contrasts this with the renovation project waiting to happen.
But wait, isn't the fixer-upper the dream? I watch all these shows where they buy a wreck and turn it into a palace in 30 minutes. You're saying that's not what the data says people want?
On TV, sure, it's great drama. In a market where buyers are cautious, materials are expensive, and contractors are booked out for 6 months, no. The fixer-upper fantasy fades very quickly when you look at the cost. Buyers today are looking for dependability.
They want to know the bones are good.
They don't want to worry that the roof is 5 minutes from collapsing or the foundation is shifting. Solid construction signals that the asset is safe. It's not a money pit. And here is a key nuance. Solid construction doesn't mean brand new.
Right, an old Victorian can be solid.
Sometimes more solid than a new build. It means the systems work. The roof is sound. The water doesn't leak. It means the previous owner kept up with the boring stuff, the maintenance, rather than just slapping lipstick on a pig.
It really sums up the quote from the source that I circled 3 times in my notes. Buyers want options, not obstacles.
That is the mantra. Every quirk, every strange layout choice, every deferred maintenance issue, those are obstacles. They are reasons for a buyer to say no or to ask for a price reduction. The everlasting home removes those obstacles and presents options. Here is a space. Do with it what you will.
So we've got the psychology, the fear of being stuck. We've got the anatomy, simple layout, adaptable, usable outdoors, solid bones. Now I want to move to the economics, because I know you love the so what, and the source material lays out a pretty compelling argument for why these homes win financially.
It's essentially an economic moat. If you own a home that checks these 4 boxes, you have created a product with the broadest possible appeal. And in economics, broad appeal is a superpower.
The source talks about the buyer Venn diagram. I love a good Venn diagram. Paint the picture for us.
Visualize 3 distinct circles of buyers. These are the 3 main engines of the housing market. First, you have first-time buyers. They are usually price-sensitive, maybe a bit nervous, but they want something livable.
They want to get on the ladder, but they don't have the cash for a huge renovation.
Right. Second circle, move-up buyers. These are people leaving their starter homes. They are looking for more space, better quality, or better location. They are pickier. They've done this before.
And the third circle,
the downsizers. The empty nesters. They are leaving the big family estate. They have money, but they want simplicity. They still want quality and comfort, but they don't want the hassle of the big house.
And usually those 3 groups are looking for totally different things.
Usually. A massive 6,000 square foot mansion only appeals to the move-up buyer. The downsizer doesn't want to clean it. The first-timer can't afford it. A tiny studio condo only appeals to the first-timer. But the well-built, flexible, modest home, that sits right in the overlapping center of all 3 circles.
That is a powerful place to be. You've got the first-timer stretching their budget to get it because it's solid. You've got the downsizer bidding on it because it's manageable. And you've got the move-up buyer looking at it because it's in a great spot and they can add on later if they need to.
Exactly. It is incredibly rare for one asset class to appeal to all 3 groups simultaneously. And what does that do for the owner?
It creates competition.
It creates liquidity.
Liquidity. Let's define that in real estate terms, because houses aren't like stocks. You can't just click sell on an app and have the money in your account in seconds.
Precisely. Real estate is inherently illiquid. It takes time to sell. It costs money to sell. But, as the source notes, flexibility equals liquidity. If your home appeals to 3 massive groups of buyers instead of just one niche group, you're going to sell faster. You are going to have more competing offers.
Which usually means a higher price.
Yes, the upside is obvious. More interest, better resale potential. But the source also emphasizes downside protection. This is the part people forget when the market is hot.
Because markets don't always go up.
Correct. We have slowdowns. We have recessions. When the market tightens, the niche homes, the ones with the weird layouts, the bad locations, the deferred maintenance, they stop selling completely. They don't just sell for less, they sit for months, sometimes years.
They become liabilities. You're paying taxes, insurance, maintenance, and you can't get out.
But the home that appeals to the center of the Venn diagram, it keeps moving. Even in a bad market, someone needs a solid, livable home. Someone is always getting married, getting divorced, relocating for a job. The demand for the fundamental home is constant. So owning this type of property sets a floor on how much you can lose.
That's a really comforting thought. Trends come and go. Shiplap walls, avocado appliances, barn doors. But the need for a functional floor plan doesn't go out of style.
The source puts it beautifully. Demand for well-located, livable homes doesn't disappear. It just pauses and resumes.
Pauses and resumes. That connects right back to our intro. The Google searches are up 10%. The pause might be ending.
That is exactly what the data suggests. The pause button has been held down for a few months. People have been waiting, watching interest rates, watching the news. But life goes on. Households form. And as that button is released, the resume phase begins. And the homes that will benefit first, the ones that will see the bidding wars first, are the ones we just described.
So, bringing this all together, the search volume is spiking, buyers are sniffing around, but they are smarter, sharper, and looking for safety.
They aren't looking to gamble. They want sure things.
So, whether you are currently looking to buy, or you're preparing to sell, or you're just sitting in your house wondering about its long-term value, you need to understand this pattern.
If you are a seller, you need to walk through your home and ask, does my home present obstacles or options? Can I remove some friction? Can I stage that weird room to look like a functional office? Can I fix the fence?
And if you are a buyer.
If you are a buyer, you need to be disciplined. You need to resist the urge to buy the quirky project house just because it's 10% cheaper, unless you have the significant budget and vision to turn it into the everlasting home we described. Because if you buy an obstacle, you become the one responsible for selling that obstacle later.
That's the bottom line. When buyers re-enter the market, these practical, flexible homes are the ones that stand out first and sell most consistently. It's the difference between a risky asset and a safe one.
Precisely. It turns a home from just a place to live into a strategic financial vehicle. And honestly, it helps you sleep better at night knowing you have an exit strategy.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought, something to chew on as you walk around your own home today. Based on everything we've discussed, the psychology, the adaptability, the resale demand, try this exercise.
It's a shift in perspective.
Look around your current home, or maybe the one you're dreaming of buying. Try to detach yourself from it for a second. Are you seeing it through your own eyes, your memories, your specific habits, your quirks? Oh, I love that the kitchen is small because I hate cooking.
Or, I love that there's no yard because I hate grass.
Exactly. Now squint. Can you see it through the eyes of the person who will one day buy it from you? The young family? The downsizer?
Because eventually, someone else will walk through that door. That is a certainty.
That shift in perspective, asking, will someone else love this, might just change your next renovation project. Maybe you don't knock down that wall. Maybe you do fix the patio. It might change your next purchase decision. And ultimately, it might save you a lot of headache and money down the road.
It's the smartest question you can ask in real estate.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.